What is up, guys? Back here on another video, and for today's video I'm gonna be listing down the most underrated characters in the game. Now let's get on with the video. So for the 5th spot we got Ida, and in my opinion Ida is actually a pretty good character. People only stopped using him because of the Awakening nerf, but even without that he's still a good character. You just gotta know how to use him right. Yeah, just like that. And in Awakening, this move is actually pretty good. Back then he used to like do 2/3 of your health, and it would almost one-shot, but now it does pretty moderate damage, but nothing trash. And Jet Kick, when it's fully charged, does 40 damage, and that is still really good. Engine Dash makes you super fast, and that is also really good. So now time for the 4th spot. In the 4th spot we got Illumi, and Illumi, he's the king of laddering in this game, and he's a much better Itachi. But people still pick Itachi over Illumi. Itachi's way more expensive, or like, is it because he's a Naruto character? Well, I don't know, but this guy is really good. You could just do that, and there, just a one-shot combo like that. And his Awakening may not be the best, but it's actually pretty good. Yeah, you could just dash even while it's on cooldown. That is really good. Bloodlust, it's like the Impale that Diablo has. The move, if you can get out of combos, if you want to get out of combos, then you could just use that. And you can even use it to iframe ultimates like Spirit Bomb. And that's why this character is really good and should be used more. So, time for the 3rd spot now. So, for the 3rd spot, we got Shanks. In my opinion, Shanks should be used more. Like, you do sometimes see him in 1v1s, but not all the time. But I kind of guess the reason why he is underrated is because of Quick Draw. It puts you in a pretty long end lag. Back then it used to be way longer though. And so you can use it to increase the damage of your M1s. And your moves even do more damage. So that's a good thing. Ken, you can dodge any blockable attack. Yeah, any blockable one. His Awakening gives so much godly damage output. Increases the damage of his M1s, and gives him the advanced sword M1s. Ken, still the same thing. Quick Draw, the same thing, except it does way more damage now. And True Strike, instead of knocking back, it knocks down and it does 30 damage. The first move, it's his ultimate. It's really good. It just puts your opponent in a stun. Oh wow. Although that is pretty loud. So, I'm done with Shanks. Now, it's time for the 2nd spot. So now, for the 2nd spot, we have Young Joseph. And the reason why he is underrated is because he does get outclassed by different characters that can do basically the same thing he can do. But one build is actually not that bad. His awakening. This is Clacker Boomerang, but hey, there's a string on him. That does a lot of damage. Your next line is... Oh, what? Hold on real quick. I'll showcase the other moves and then come back to that one. This one, the beam is really good. Clacker Overdrive. It's the same thing as Clacker Volley, except it guard breaks and does a tiny bit more damage. Okay, your next line is... The reason why it's not a very good counter is because it doesn't even give iframes. So yeah, the devs, if you're watching this, please give your next line is iframes. Because it's a counter. So, now, I'm gonna list some honorable mentions before I get to the number 1 spot. One honorable mention is Zabuza, because you really don't see many people using him, despite the fact that he is a really good character. But, to be honest, I think he should even be on this list. But, the characters on this list are not seen as much. So, Sword Throw. Good combo extender. Do not miss it or else you'll be punished. Hiding in the Mist. If used at a perfect time, you can just get out of combos. And on contact, it does 21 damage. Decapitate. Good combo extender. It does 40 damage, if I'm correct. Water Clone. It's just a Shadow Clone, except with a water effect. And it only summons 1. His mode. Haku. It's a downgraded 10-10. Water Dragon. It's pretty good. You can also use that move twice. Decapitate. So it does 45 now. Hiding in the Mist, still the same thing, except you can hide for much longer and the fog has a much larger radius. And yeah, still the same thing. So, time for the next honorable mention. For the next honorable mention, we got Kisuke. Yeah, you do see him only a few times. So, he has an auto aim guard break, which does have a good distance, but the damage is not so good. High in, it's an auto aimed blast that has relatively short cooldown. Rikujo Kodo, it's just stun. Although, it keeps you in place like that. Portable Gigai, it's an evasive. But not the most reliable evasive, if I'm really telling the truth, honestly. His awakening, this is what carries him. Pink Cannon, 40 damage, and it has a lot of range. Cry, it's basically Chica's Love Detective, but it guard breaks. And it does not have the new auto aim, so it kind of sucks. Shield, an iframe move that does damage. Okay, Pink Cannon. Do you see that range? That's a lot. And his third move, which I cannot pronounce, it's basically Rikujo Kuro, but longer. So, time for the last honorable mention. The last honorable mention is Rock Lee. And he's not on this list because he gained more popularity through a small buff. And this is the buff. The primary Lotus end lag was almost completely removed. But there is still a bit. So it's not the best combo extender. And shurikens, regular shurikens, rising wind. Yeah, it knocks you up. Leaf hurricane, I'm surprised that does not guard break, and it knocks back. So Rock Lee, his awakening is really good, and his awakening also got a buff. Great hurricane. The last hit guard breaks. And I feel like this character should be used more because, look, if you use 10-10 up close, it one-shots. Body Flicker. Look at that cooldown. Reverse Lotus. Really good grab move. And it has a pretty long cooldown. And it has no iframes, so that's a downside. Great Hurricane. It does pretty good damage. That is overpowered. So, now, time for the most underrated character in this game. So, for the most underrated character in the game, it's Yamamoto. Do not lie when I ask you this. How many times have you seen this guy in a ranked match? Or even in a public server? Y'all are probably going to say once or twice, maybe 3 times. But the last time I have seen this guy being used was in 2019 when his Hell Pillars would one-shot. And let me just showcase the moves. So Kotsu, it's an auto-aimed guard break. Onibi, it's kind of like Ichigo's lunge. Narigiri, it's basically Chika's newspaper. His awakening, this is what made this guy super good back then. Twisting Flame, it's basically like Bushokuma on Shunsui. Torch, it is a really good guard break move. Searing Blade, it's a decent move. This is Hell Pillars. It is really good. But back then in 2019, it would one-shot. Like, anytime you were hit with a pillar, it would one-shot no matter what. And that was way too broken, so they nerfed him to where it now just does 50 damage to prevent Yamamoto from being too unbalanced. Yeah, that's pretty funny. So, now that the list is done, hope you guys enjoyed this video. See you next time.